Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our live stream. I'm Rachel Archelaus. This is Carrie Roldan. We are celebrating Void Week this week, and we welcome you to our celebration. Yes, so exciting. I think I came up with this term. I don't think I've heard anyone else use it, but to me, Void Week is the period between Christmas and New Year's. I know not everyone has this week off, but most of the world, I feel like, is a bit subdued at least, right? And so I've always felt like I am on my own. I'm swimming in the universe. I'm not a role. I'm not a wife, a daughter, anything. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just my gelatinous goo floating through the universe. And it feels so liberating. So liberating. It's like I get to dream up what I want to do next. I get to celebrate what I've already done. I get to feel my insides more clearly. And that doesn't mean I always come up with plans or, a theme for the next year, resolutions or anything. It just feels like I feel more accessible. And usually my partner travels this week, so that helps a lot too. So I don't know if you can relate to that feeling at all, but I like to celebrate Void Week anyway, regardless of whether he's here or I have to work. It just feels great. So thanks for being here with us.
Well, yeah, so I have a different experience of Void Week, but I too experience I feel like there's not a lot of have-tos in Void Week, that everybody is flexible with schedule. This year, Christmas happened in the middle of the week, but like it sort of happens for me. My kids are home from school. My husband his work schedule is probably the way you described, like he can work, he could not work. Like if anybody who works in an office, like the office is way less full, right? There's just more flexibility in life in this week. It does have like an amoebic sort of feeling. And I generally go into this week with big plans. It feels like there's going to be so much time between Christmas and New Year's because it's Void Week. And, there's no schedule. There's nothing to do. And I am surrounded by other people. So I come in with like, I'm going to have time to like journal and sit by myself and let the universe speak to me. And it always does, but not in the way that I expect. I imagine that it's like a spa retreat in my home kind of a week. And it is not that at all. I'm surrounded by my family at most times. And oftentimes I have 3 kids and a husband, and it's, 5 different sets of ideas and plans for, for the week. But so it generally passes really quickly. Like I tend to expect this abundance of time, and I get an abundance of a lot of other things in this week. It tends to pass really, really quickly. I tend to get that contemplative week, actually the first week of the new year. But I still love this week because I think it is that amorphous time of like intentionally living in possibility.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, hello, Guillaume. Hello, Jana. Thanks for being here with us. Yeah. So one of the things I love to do this week is meditate more, right? I have more time and I like to maybe do a longer meditation than I usually do. That's always fun for me. Like Carrie, journaling. I don't usually journal. And so that is really fun to do. If you're really wanting to set up your 2025, like if you're ready to switch over how you make a living to a more authentic way, to an easier way, then book a session with me. I have this really great session that combines a reading of your soul gifts, your soul desires, and your calibrations needed. So like, what are your limiting beliefs that are stopping you from doing this on your own? I bring that to the session, and then we talk about you for an hour and what you'd love and what you'd love to do and all the possibilities. And we come up with a plan, an embodiment plan for you to shift your income over to something that you'd actually love doing. I've had a couple of these now, and they're so good. They're so good. So this is like my new signature thing. I have been doing this for over 20 years with people in my psychic sessions and in my coaching, but I've never combined it in this way before. It is on sale right now before the new year. So go and book that. The link is in the email I sent you today if you want that. And there's more to it. You'll learn more, but this is a great week to do that. A great week. And I'm doing this for myself as well because, you know, my household brought in a lot of abundance this year, like way more than we had anticipated or planned for or anything. And we didn't do anything differently. We probably aligned differently because when you align differently, your vibration brings things in. But it was great to see that, because when you align to who you really are, when you prioritize what you love and what's fun for you, like I did with school. School took first spot this year for me. I spent a lot of time on school and less time on other things. And to know that that is rewarded because I was being authentic and I was feeling abundant and I was feeling clear, like it just, every year I just like walk my talk more and I am rewarded more. And I just wanted to share that because a lot of us internalize, like we've tried before, we've tried to do it, it doesn't work. Like whether it's losing weight or making more money or having your own business or whatever, fill in the blank of what you've tried and it hasn't worked. And maybe you've tried through action or willpower or following another person's blueprint, right? But have you tried from changing your vibration? Carrie and I were just talking about how hard it is to take responsibility for our own vibration, how hard that is. It's true, because we think action is what creates results, but it's not. It's in here, it's in you. And so that is something to consider. You're not doing anything wrong, right? You haven't failed a million times. Maybe you just haven't tried the right way, right?
So I have something to say about that. So first, I want to reiterate what you said, Rachel, about this session. So I've been in Rachel's world for a very long time. This is the most excited I've ever seen her about, like, every time she has a session with someone. She never tells me who it was, but she's always like, "You are not going to believe this." This is the most excited I've seen her about not just the transformation, because I think, well, let's just talk about that. I think that sometimes there's an expectation of like going into a session and coming out a different person, right? Coming out having everything all figured out. And so I just want to reiterate what actually happens in these sessions. So and this, I took notes as Rachel was earlier today, like describing what was happening. This is what I took down. That she's helping people hone in on their zone of genius by revealing their soul gifts, and then the calibrations needed. And in talking about those calibrations needed, she's like, whatever obstacles or limiting beliefs those are. So I'm going to come back to obstacles and limiting beliefs in a second when we talk about radical personal responsibility. But I have been in sessions like that, right? I've had sessions where people say like, "Hey, this is the thing that's holding you back." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks a lot. I know." Right? Like, so anyhow, but then she goes deeper, right? Not just in your soul gifts, but your soul desires. So the way you just talked about that, Rachel's like, let me have a conversation about you. But like, because I know what comes up in these sessions are like things that may feel seemingly irrelevant or like just small little things that like Rachel can hone in on and be like, no, follow that, listen to that, go there. And then she helps you formulate a plan to more lucrative alignment. So Rachel, you just talked about, like, you sort of said maybe switching the way that you make money, but it may not be switching the way you make money. It might just be like turning the dial a little bit, or like just shifting your course a few degrees, right? Or that idea that you had 6 months ago that didn't seem feasible, look at that again, right? Like, it can be the smallest things. What will happen? You will leave the session feeling amazing, right? But what will happen is that you will have a plan. You will have, I want to say a map, but that's like so overused, but like this, I like that you use the word calibration, and I don't know if that is even like a nautical term or not, but there's just like this like recalculating based on the waves that are coming and like how things are going, right? Just like making sure you sort of stay on course. And so you'll leave the session feeling great, but it is also, it's something that you just return to over and over and over again. And what has happened for me since and I'm excited because Rachel like just added a new dimension, and she's like, oh, we need to do this with you. So I'm excited to like go back to that. But even what I have experienced is, it has given me a level of certainty.
You're stuck. I love that you're stuck on the word certainty, though. That's awesome. I wonder if she's coming back. Oh, there she is.
Oh, we both the screens went black and there was spinning, and just so much certainty about what the path forward is. And I was just telling Rachel before this. So one, if any of that sounds amazing to you, you need to book this session. And Void Week is such a beautiful week to do it. When everything feels amorphous and kind of loose, it's like your time to find your course. Because what you're going to get from this session is the ability to find your course and course correct on your own. And it actually happens through this like level of certainty. And what's going to come with it is maybe the thing that, like, it is that radical personal responsibility, like actually understanding you have total ownership and you can do this. So I've been talking for a long time, but I was just telling Rachel like just how much my life has changed in the past few months, in the last quarter of 2024. And some of those changes were seemingly like not great. Right? Like when things in my life happened, I like was like, where's my path? How do I course correct? The path forward has been total commitment to working on my vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing things have happened.
Yeah.
Amazing things have happened. But the path forward, I was just telling her, like, I just stopped making excuses and started doing it.
I know. Unfortunately, that's the way, like, we are the creators. What is outside of us is because of us. And not necessarily like the wars in the Middle East and, the presidential thing, or even the sick partner or whatever, right? Like, everyone is vibrating for themselves. But the story we attribute to that, the meaning we give to that, is all us. It's all us, right? Everything is neutral. We give it meaning. And so if you're unhappy with what's happening outside of you, can you look away? Can you look at something else? Can you give it different meaning if you're stuck with it, right? Like, if it's something you want there, but you're just not feeling good about it, what else can you make that mean, right? I was telling Carrie earlier, right? If Viktor Frankl can be in a concentration camp and take that ownership on himself to determine what the meaning is for him, then we can all do it. We can all do it, right? So it's a little bit of that tough love, right? Like, if you're not feeling good, how can you feel better? How can you feel better? And, maybe it's going to see a therapist. Maybe it's being on medication. Maybe it's just determining how you could see it differently. Maybe it's rewriting your past in a way to make it work for you, or to just make it neutral if it's still traumatizing you. There's so many ways that we can do this. So many ways. And none of it is right or wrong. It's whatever's going to work for you. I mean, don't go become a heroin junkie, right? Like, that's not what I'm saying here. But there are lots of healthy ways that you can feel better. And once you decide you're willing to feel better about something, the solution will be available to you, right? So maybe you've tried a whole bunch of things and it didn't work for you. Once you decide you're willing, which is one of Carrie's things she's brought to me, this idea of being willing, then something will open up, right? So the solution's always there, and it's always knocking at your door. Always knocking at your door. But you've got to open the window in order to hear it, or open the door in order to receive it, right? And that is your willingness.
And the thing that is coming to me, so we sort of went from talking about like void week and the opportunity here to like, if you're in this dark night of your soul, right? But is the willingness, okay, what came to me is like when people are grieving and then they have like a moment of good, and then they feel guilty for feeling good because they're like not thinking about the person or whatever, like it's a little bit of that, where it's like, could you find 15 minutes to meditate, where for 15 minutes you're escaping your current reality, right? Just step outside of it for 15 minutes. It'll be there when you get back, right?
Yeah. What I want to add to that, though, is your meditation isn't an escape from your current reality. It's a returning to your actual reality, right?
But when you're stuck in your story.
What? Yeah. Your story is not your reality. The story is something you can easily change. Yes, momentum makes it harder. Yes, right. There's lots of neurons that are wired together, but your meditation, your feeling good, your smile when you forget about what is going on, right? Your happy moment in the midst of grieving. That's really you. That's your truth, right? Abraham says, your cork fucking floats, right? Unless you're holding it down. And so stop holding it down, right? If you want to feel better, there is a way to feel better.
I just don't want to skip over that part you just said of like, oh yeah, neurons firing together, right? But that is the physical manifestation of momentum. Yes, but that's what makes it feel so real. And so like part of it is recognizing that is being like, being willing to know that, at least for me, my experience has always been like, I know, Rachel, I know, but this reality feels so real, right? Like, and so I was thinking that Guillaume just commented, yay for dropping the F-bomb. I do feel like Abraham leaves the F out of it, but
probably, yeah.
But I think that's the part that we can, at least for me, is like recognizing the more time I spend in meditation, returning to what is real, I am also unplugging those connections, right? I am and so that like, that was helpful. That was really, really helpful to recognize like, oh, I want to, when I rewire, when I change the circuitry, I change my reality.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, like, so we are a vibration down reality. Okay, so like your vibration is what changes your brain. Your brain doesn't change your vibration. And I really want you all to know that. You're not, even genetics doesn't determine who you are, because there's epigenetics, which means your environment that your cells are in is what tells the genes to go which way, to express, to not to express, to mutate or to not mutate. So, I mean, I'm in graduate school right now for a science degree. I'm learning all this wonderful stuff, and none of it is contradictory to this, right? So, I'm sure they don't believe psychics are real. But the funny thing is, yeah, you know that, right? I know, it's dumb.
But it's coming. It is so coming.
It is coming, but they're so hesitant to say it. They're so hesitant, because I was reading this study that was even provided to us from my teacher. It wasn't like something I just stumbled upon. It was about this psychoanalyst dealing with someone who is a borderline personality, which can be a very difficult thing to live with, right? It's a very insecure way to be, very hard. But with schizophrenia and borderline and a lot of personality disorders, there happens to be this thing where they just happen to know what's going on in your subconscious mind, right? That's not psychic. That's just being able to read the subconscious mind. Well, I don't know what psychic is if it's not part of that. So it's just so funny, because there was this one, I know this is off topic, but it's so good. There was this one session that they were having where the therapist was thinking about the eggs they were going to eat for lunch. And the patient says like, oh, how are you like your eggs? And it's like every time the therapist would think something else, the client would comment on it. And they were just so funny about it. Like, oh, the client seemed to be able to read my unconscious mind. And it was just like, hello.
That reminds me of Dolores Cannon. And her, like, how she sort of stumbled into the world that she stumbled into, like trying to do, was she psychotherapy? She was hypnotherapy, but the hypnotherapy, somebody else, the guy who like sort of founded past life regression was the same. Like he was like a serious psychologist who like kind of leaned into something and discovered this whole thing. And then the world of like serious psychology was like,
So funny.
Yeah.
I also stumbled across this term the other day called intuitive intelligence. Laura actually brought it up. But it's so funny because like the AI, like, summary of intuitive intelligence, it also says like this isn't a sixth sense or anything. It's just blah, 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 blah. It's like, intuition isn't a sixth sense, nor is it a special gift possessed by some remarkable people. It's like, can we just say it, please? Can we just acknowledge it? How badly would that hurt you,
Well, it makes me think of like when I was in college, learning about the idea of collective consciousness. And like hearing about that. And I was thinking like, I mean, that sounds pretty woo to me.
Yeah, the collective unconscious has been a thing for over 100 years. Like,
yeah,
it's really not that difficult to say it. Yeah. It's so funny. But anyway, see, this is the kind of thing that we can fall into in Void Week. Your personality, what lights you up, who you really are, what you want to talk about. I talk to a lot of people who are hesitant to share on social media. And, I don't post a ton either, but I do enjoy it. But the thing that will help you get over your own hurdles is discovering what it is you could talk about forever to anyone, right? Like this kind of thing really lights me up, as you can tell. And it's been a really fun year at school to weaving all this stuff into my assignments, right? And like focusing on the things that are important to me and learning a lot. Actually, I learned so much more than I thought I would that's applicable to my current work. It's been really great. So just remember, everyone, and Carrie brought this up in the beginning, you're the creator. And so anything you want is your ability to create. You can live in your own possibility and just see what happens, like see what wonderful things come to you. It's so cool. It's so cool.
And my suggestion is document them, because we were talking about how like the shifts are small and subtle. And like one of the ways that Rachel and I keep each other in like, holy crap, this is amazing mode, is actually being able to reflect to each other. Like we just had a conversation where like, I know we haven't talked about this in a couple of weeks, but oh my gosh, this section of my life completely shifted, right? Like this. And it's easy to get used to your new level, right? It's easy to forget, oh my gosh. So when my kids were little, they used to say, don't say good job to kids. Because when you say good job, they're looking for now they're looking for another good job. They're looking for external validation. So instead of saying good job, say, I remember when you didn't know how to do that, right? Or, wow, that painting is blue. Tell me about that, right? Like just shifting more, like observing and asking instead of just give them some sort of validation. Why am I telling you this? Oh, because that's what we wind up doing is, I mean, we often good job each other. We high five each other. We do that as well. But we are good reflectors of like, I remember when that wasn't your reality. I remember when that was a dream. I remember just a week ago when you were like, wouldn't it be cool if, and look at that, there it is. And that happens through documenting. So whether it's one of the things that I've been documenting is the amount of money and value that is coming into my life. And I've been trying to do this for years, like half-heartedly, like, oh, write it down, whatever. But I've been just this month pretty vigilant about it. And holy crap, you guys. Holy crap. So much, not just money. I mean, like money has come into my life, which has been really fun, but value, like things that I'm like, wow, that was like $2,000 of value that just showed up for me. And the more I notice it, the more that comes. So I can't stress enough the importance of taking just a moment to notice the good stuff.
Yeah. I have to agree. Like change is subtle, right? At first, but then it snowballs, right? Alignment is difficult to achieve at first, and then it snowballs. Like if I think about last year and this year, right? What a difference, right? I just gotten my aligners last year. Now my teeth are straight. Wild, right? I had just started school in December after sort of like am I going to go to school? What am I going to do? What program am I going to do? Right? Started in December. Now I nearly have a master's degree. It's been incredible. Like last year, I made good money. My household brought in good money. This year, I can't even say the number. It's so big and crazy and wonderful. And like so many huge things have happened. Huge. Like friendships, hiking, my relationship with my partner, everything really blew the F up. Like, holy cow. And that is what happens when you keep going, right? Like, why do I love coaching with people for an entire year? Because you get to see the bigger things start to happen, right? The first 6 months is, no one wants to hear this, but it's true. It's very internal. It's about redoing your process. It's about rewiring your brain because of your vibrational shift. It's about laying the groundwork for a new reality to come in. But then Like if you're good at that, if you're consistent with that, the next 6 months, things start to happen, but it only keeps getting better and better and better and better and better, which is why I love to keep coaching with people for years and years and years and years and years, because it keeps getting better and better and better and better and better and better. And it's just great. So there's no limit to you. There's no limit to you. You don't need a coach to align. It's just more fun. And it's just probably a lot easier and a lot faster to get to where you want to go. But
well, it is easier and faster. So I know we're over on our time already, but as you were talking, I was thinking about like, there's this book about coaching high school runners that is called Consistency is Key. And like, I love when we're talking about, our dedication to our vibration, the same way that we talk about training an athlete.
Yeah.
Right. Like it is like, just go on that run every day or 6 days a week or whatever it is. Like just get out the door and do it. Some days are going to be easier than others. Some days your pace is going to feel great. And other days it's going to feel like hard work. Right. But over time. So I think that's the thing, right? Is because it can feel like this, you don't recognize that it's going up and down on its way up. And that is why having a coach matters. Like you just said, just keep going, right? Because it's easy to do something for 6 months and be like, well, this isn't working. I better try something else.
And hey, if you've gotten 6 months on your own, kudos to you, because most people don't even make it a week.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, that's the importance of having someone to say, keep going. You're there. I remember when you couldn't do that. I remember when you couldn't even dare to believe that. I remember when, wherever that started, it's so easy to forget how far you've come.
Yes.
And that's so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, Jana, and we love you. Friends, I know we got a little self-promotional here, but it's just because we really freaking love what we do. We really, really love what we do. And we're really, really, really good at it. And we love helping people live their dreams, because no matter how you get there, if you're able to live the way you want to live, you feel free, you feel wonderful, you feel happy, you have overflow to give, and it's worth doing that. It's so worth getting there, however you can get there. And even I doubt myself sometimes, which I know sometimes surprises people, because I know Carrie tells me all the time, like, well, you just seem like you're always there and you're always aligned and you're always great. And it's like, probably most of the time, but I still wonder, like, oh gosh, what am I doing? Or am I spending too much time on this? Or what do I do about this? And, we can all feel like we're a little bit off kilter, as Jana would say. And I just always have to remind myself, like, hey, this is part of the journey. Like, of course, I'm not going to feel completely like with it all the time, but that's okay. That doesn't mean I've gone in the wrong direction, right? Just get back in there, get back in the center of my head, get back into meditation, and all is well. So enjoy Void Week. I know this was a crazy live stream today, but enjoy this time to connect with yourself, because you're going to feel so much better.
And this was a crazy, awesome live stream right now. And one of the things that you talked about was like this fear of visibility or getting out on social media. And I can feel that a lot of the time. And it's because like I have this fear that I just talk in circles and like, sort of ramble on, and that there's nothing of real meaning and that I'm not able to keep on course. But that's a lie, right? We just had an incredible conversation that started in one place, which was let's appreciate Void Week, and went all over the place. But the truth is, and even like you were a little bit apologetic for like being self-promotional, but one of the things that Rachel is exceptional at and I will toot my horn at this as well, right? Is helping us realize that thing that we think like, oh, isn't all that valuable, that like, oh my God, that's so easy. Like that's nothing. That's nothing. That's just something that I do, right? That's actually the magic.
That is your thing. Yes.
And so this meandering conversation, that's the
Mhm.
magic.
Well, it resonated with Jana. That's good enough for me. All right, friends. Well, we will see you. Is it, we're going to see them in the new year? I closed my calendar.
Yeah.
Oh
Next
my
Thursday.
gosh. We will see you in the new year, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful New Year's and the rest of your void week. And we love you. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye.